If you've got an extra stash of ribbons, fabric, yarn, or paper in your craft closet, make good use of those supplies. Jen Lopez is the co-founder of The Clever Octopus, a reuse center filled with leftover craft supplies donated from people like you around the Wasatch Front. And today she's showing us creative crafts that you can make from your own craft stash. Now, Jen, you guys are all about reusing items. You've created value out of things that maybe some of us would just chuck. Tell us where this theory and this idea kind of came about.
There's an incredible store in North Carolina called the Scrap Exchange. That's where I did all of my schooling, and all of my art supplies for school came from. And I've been dreaming about having such a thing here in Utah for 10 years, and finally we made it happen.
That is amazing. Okay, and now you are showing us what you guys do with all of those craft supplies. What did you bring with us?
So today we have a piece made from a lot of different kinds of found objects. We made a weaving, and it looks like it might be complicated to start, but we've got a lot of really great ways to make this super easy for you to get started using all the random little bits that you have left in your craft supplies.
And then what do you do with something like this? Where do you put it in your home?
This one with a lot of texture in it would probably be a nice wall hanging. Sometimes if you make a wider one or a longer one, you can make a beautiful table runner. And if you make it just out of fabric, you can make a really excellent handmade rug.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And this really is the style. I've actually seen rugs at the store
Absolutely.
like this a lot that you can buy. And
Very expensive.
Okay, and what is this down here?
So this is another version of the same idea with weaving. We took a small circle from a tree, hammered some really cool long nails in, and wove the strips back and forth of this white yarn, and then added more details with the paper and wire.
Okay, and now when we think of weaving, we think of the tools that are needed to weave a loom. You create that as well from scratch. So how do we do that?
So it's pretty straightforward to make your own loom rather than to buy a big complicated one. We're going to start with an old picture frame.
And we all, I think, have those around our house.
Absolutely. We'll take a ruler. We'll measure out dots about every ½ inch or so. And once we've got those in place,
oh, the fun part.
The fun part
This would be the fun part for me.
Do this definitely on the floor or on a nice sturdy workbench and not on a wiggly table.
Okay.
But hammer everything in. You want to sink your nails about halfway, and the key is a nail that has a nice head on it so that your string will stay put.
And then what about length? Does that matter?
This guy's almost perfect at about 1 inch.
Okay.
Yep. But whatever you've got laying around will be probably perfect.
And you do those all the way down the line to then look like this.
And then they'll look like this. And you'll tie your string on.
And what's the method for getting the string on?
A regular old knot will do just fine.
Okay.
It's super straightforward. Tie a knot in one corner, and then you'll wrap it up, down, up, down. If you're feeling fancy, wrap around the nail head.
Okay.
To make sure everything stays in place, but you don't have to make that happen.
Now, is the type of string going to be important as far as the width of the string?
The width of string is not super important. I would say choose something that's not going to be very stretchy. This one is cotton and fairly thin. If all you've got is yarn, that will be just fine too.
Oh, okay.
Fishing line could be cool. A wide variety of things that you might find would work.
I've definitely got
perfectly.
fishing line around my house.
Fishing line would be awesome. So once you've made it all the way through here, and you've got this guy wrapped up, you can move on to the fun part, which is finding all of your treasures and weaving.
Look at this giant loom that you created. Did that take some work to get everything in?
This one took about an hour to build. We had this old mirror frame and marked out our nails. You can see that even though we made some mistakes, they came out perfect anyway. It'll work out beautifully.
Okay, and so is there a method to what you're doing with the fabric here, or are you just grabbing and putting it in?
I'm finding whatever I like. So right now in my hands I have a strip of paper, I have a piece of bias tape, I have some Mardi Gras beads, I have lace, and ribbon.
So you could really use whatever
really
you want
anything.
in
If you look really closely, you've got a big beautiful flower here, and we've got some teeny ones hiding in the pattern there. In our treasures, we've got a whole variety of different supplies we're using.
Okay, can you show us the method of how to weave this guy through?
For sure. Oh yeah, there's a really nice phone cord down here. And we've got a wire sticking out the side. So weaving, once again, is just up, down, over, under, over, under. It's a little bit easier when it's laying down flat to keep track of all your pieces, but if you want to do it straight up and down, that's fine too.
Now, I know professional weavers, they sometimes use a needle. Is that something you can use on this, or do you find fingers are the easiest approach?
It depends on you and your dexterity and many other things.
So you could use a needle.
But if you wanted to make a needle, we have a nice, easy way to do that. A plastic lid, cut out a triangle, and punch a hole in it.
Look at this, you really are reusing everything you would have in the house.
Punch a hole in it, and you have this little guy here that works really beautifully.
To then weave through. Now, as you're doing that, is there a method to the distance down between each lines that you want to create a new line for the weave?
So what you'll see here is that this top section is nice and tight. This lower section is kind of loose right now. What's going to happen is later on, once I have this piece fuller, I'm going to take and I'm going to squish everything up really nice and snug so that all the pieces will hold together. You don't have to worry about things sliding out. And it'll make more of a mottled texture like we've got going on at the top here. So this pink here started out as this really fabulous textured flower fabric.
Now it's that scrunchy
and now
look.
it's this scrunchy ruffled stuff.
And then when you're done, how do you finish the edges and take it off?
The final step, once you've got everything ready, you'll pull nice and snug down and you'll cut right across here and tie a knot between these strings, tying each pair together. If you have an extra, just tie it to another one. And you'll end up with a nice ruffled trim like we've got on our finished piece.
And then you can add it to, like you have here, a twig or a beam, anything that it will then fit on to hang. Absolutely amazing. Now, again, you guys are a new business. Where can people go to make donations, and what do you guys accept?
So our shop is at 4973 South State Street in Murray. We're right next to the Murray Theater. You can't miss us. You can bring us donations during our business hours. Tuesday through Saturday, and we accept donations of any sorts of art supplies, craft supplies, or tools, including hammers and nails, so that we can keep folks in projects like this.
Wonderful, Jen. What a great vision and some fun DIY ways to get those custom looks in your house. We appreciate you coming and giving us the inside look.
Terrific.
Okay, thank you.